Hey everybody, it's Dive Girl Dab, and today we are looking at the candy board, which is turned upside down so that we can see inside of it. But I took this off of Davy's hive today. And why is it called a candy board? Because if I put my finger here about an inch and a half deep, you can see how deep this board is. So we pour sugar and water and some nice herbs inside of this and fill it that deep with candy. And we put this on the hives in the wintertime. Now in the summertime, you can use it because it has an upper hive entrance. So the bees can fly in here and go inside and work the hive. And this is good because your brood chambers, which is one and then two boxes above this, those brood chambers are going to be full of activity, and there's a lot of humidity and moisture, and the honey needs to be held above that. And because I got to this box a little bit late, I was not feeling so good this summer, and I got late into this box. So what they did is they took advantage of this inch and a half of room and filled it out. So now a lot of this looks like it's really dark comb, where the comb itself looks aged, but that's not the case because this hive is only 2 months old. What you're seeing is different nectar. So the nectar that's in this segment is definitely different than this, and definitely different than this, and so on. And so this is like a time warp that tells you, okay, they got into, this, they built this area out, okay, and it filled up. It's kind of like watching lava, okay, over land. And that filled up and it overflowed here. And then they needed a space, so they made this little orb. And then they came back and filled this in. And it just blossoms from there. And this is naturally how bees build hives. Now, I want you to realize that there's a space right in between here. This is called your bee space. So this area where a bee lives is called bee space. And the standard for bee space is... So I'm doing what they call burning an inch here, which means that I'm not showing you the first inch. But if you take these 1/8 inch bars here, and there, 1/4 inch is 2 1/8 bars, and there's your third one. So from the 1 inch marker to my thumb is 3/8 of an inch. And if you look at most of these chambers here, I'll be darned, they are 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so in the bee world, 3/8 of an inch is what we call bee space. And you can literally see it right here. They want to have 3/8 of an inch around all their walkways. It's kind of like their building standard. Okay? So imagine you have a building construction standard, and you want to have 3/8 of an inch between all of your comb. Well, in the world of beekeeping, we have a lot of funguses and other very contagious diseases. And so if you cannot remove this comb and inspect it, it's not legal. And so having comb built in these sections technically is not legal because you can't inspect. That's why we have frames that get pulled out. So, for example, in a beehive, you will have these wooden frames, and they have wires attached. And these just got out of the solar wax melter, and we'll clean these up and we'll add some fresh foundation. And then you have a frame that you can set into the hive, and you can pull it out and inspect it. And because you can inspect it, now that you have a legal beehive. And yes, this is only an inch and a half deep, and we could easily inspect it. And we do not have brood in here, so we're not likely to have fungus. This is all nectar storage, and it's been on its side and in the vehicle, and there's nectar that's leaking out now. But I wanted to show this to Lance because he and I got into this hive, and I told him, I said, go in the house and get a jar so you can get some honey for the family. And I took my hive tool. This is a hive tool, and I scraped out some bands of this honey and scraped out those sections and put it in a glass jar and set it in the house. But you can see here that they've already rebuilt this section. Now they didn't rebuild the rest of this over here and over there. And actually, if you look at this, there are some spots where we broke the comb along here, along this whole section, where these combs were built onto the frames. And so when we went in there and opened it up, then the bees came back and they licked everything down and recovered all that honey, all right? But they did not build back. And that's important to note because the blackberry nectar has stopped, okay? We're at the end of the flow. And so pretty much in about a week or two, the whole system in the honeybee world is going to switch. And they're going to potentially try to rob resources like this away from our bees. And so I pulled this for a number of reasons, because it was not in the right place, because it can't be inspected, and because it's prone to robbing, and that's especially true because we're right here by an upper hive entrance. So yeah, this is going to get reused. Some of it I will feed back, but at the end of the day, I wanted to really show this to Lance and to Davy so they could see what the bees do over about a week or so and understand what bee space is. It's 3/8 of an inch. So when I ask you guys, what is bee space? You're going to say what? 3/8 of an inch equals bee space. Okay? There you go. 3/8 of an inch equals bee space. That's the little walking aisles. And this comb is really kind of cool because look how deep they made those nectar chambers. That's very unusual. Very, very unusual. Usually, the length of a cell is going to be the length of a pupa. And there were some pupa up here on these edges. And I purposely waited at least 10 days because we had capped brood up here. And I wanted to give them time to hatch and go into the hive before we move this lid. So we don't have any brood up here, which is good. We added a second box, or third box, the third box to them, which was the short honey super that's purple. And that's going to give them something to work on right now. And so the queen stopped laying in here, which is exactly what I wanted her to do. All right, so Lance, now you understand bee space is 3/8 of an inch. And you should always take your vitamin C before you play with your bees. All right, guys, I'm Dive Girl Deb. Love ya. Bye-bye.